Welcome to the MDedge Daily News for Thursday, July 5th. We hope you and yours had a happy and safe Independence Day. I'm Nick Andrews.
And I'm Mary Ellen Schneider. Today, diabetes risk may rise with work hours.
And later, the FDA reverses the warning on asthma medications that contain long-acting beta agonists.
And transgender men need counseling on contraceptive and reproductive choices.
But we begin today with a dramatic reduction in hypoglycemia incidence at 9 hospitals in the St. Louis area. The credit goes to a computer algorithm that warns medical staff when a patient appears to be on the road to dangerous blood glucose levels. Research on implementing the algorithm was presented at the annual scientific sessions of the American Diabetes Association. The 6-year retrospective system-wide study finds that the use of the alert system lowered the annual occurrence of severe hypoglycemia events by 41% at the hospitals. In patients who have blood glucose levels under 90, the system considers several variables including weight, creatinine clearance, insulin therapy, and baseline insulin doses. Then, if the algorithm considers a patient to be at high risk, it sends a single alert to medical staff. Dr. Gary Tobin says that the idea is that the real-time alerts will go to nurses or pharmacists who will review a patient chart and then contact physicians. Dr. Tobin previously reported results from this research in just one hospital over 5 months. Those initial results were positive. In this study, researchers extended the alert system to 9 hospitals and tracked its use from 2011 to 2017. During the study, the number of severe hypoglycemic events fell by over 40%. At one study location, the average monthly number of severe hypoglycemia incidents fell from 40 to 12. Dr. Tobin also notes that this process is sustainable at a wide range of hospitals, from community facilities to academic centers. And the system won't break the bank because it runs with the current staff and computer systems.
Hard work may be its own reward, but new research suggests that there is a risk with all that work, but only for women. That risk is diabetes. The research shows men have a higher risk overall for developing diabetes compared with women, but men see their risk for diabetes go down as they work more hours per week, while women have an increased risk for diabetes as they clock more hours at work. This is according to data from Canada on more than 3,500 men and 3,500 women who were followed for 12 years. For men, the incidence of diabetes was more than 17% if they worked between 15 and 34 hours, but that dropped to 9.5% if they worked at least 45 hours a week. For women, the reverse is true. Those who worked 35 to 40 hours a week had a 6.8% incidence of diabetes. That incidence grew 1 percentage point for women who worked between 41 and 44 hours per week. And the greatest incidence was for women who worked 45 hours or more. You can see a graphic of the relationship between diabetes and work hours by clicking on the link in the description.
The combination of long-acting beta agonist and an inhaled glucocorticoid decreases the risk of asthma exacerbation by 17% without increasing the risk of asthma-related intubation or death. This is according to an analysis of 4 large pharmaceutical-sponsored trials, which was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. The findings support the FDA's decision to remove the black box warning on long-acting beta agonist inhaled glucocorticoid products. Dr. William Buse says that the analysis confirms a lower relative risk of asthma exacerbations of 17% with combination therapy than with inhaled glucocorticoid alone. This corresponds to the lower relative rates of asthma exacerbations that were reported in the individual trials. In 2010, the FDA advised that LABAs shouldn't be used in the first-line therapy for asthma and required a black box warning on all LABA-containing products. Despite an FDA-conducted meta-analysis that found no increase of serious asthma-related incidents, the agency said there wasn't enough subgroup evidence to support the safety of LABAs when combined with an inhaled glucocorticoid. The agency required the 4 companies marketing Alaba for asthma to conduct prospective randomized trials comparing the safety for LABA plus an inhaled glucocorticoid to an inhaled glucocorticoid alone. The trials by AstraZeneca, GlaxoSmithKline, Merck, and Novartis were identical. Serious asthma-related events occurred in 108 of the inhaled glucocorticoid group and 119 of the combination therapy group, which is a non-significant difference. The committee who analyzed the data says that the combined analysis finally provides strong evidence to support the FDA decision to remove the boxed safety warning for combination therapy.
And finally today, there is a need for contraception counseling for transgender men. New research published in the journal Contraception found that transgender men are not being asked about their fertility desires. Researchers report that 86% of 197 female-to-male transgender men were taking masculinizing hormones. Overall, 17% of respondents had experienced a pregnancy, and while patients who had never taken hormones had a nearly 200% higher incidence of pregnancy compared with patients who took testosterone, a pregnancy was reported by a patient who was taking testosterone. 16% of patients said that they believed testosterone was a method of contraception, and some even said their healthcare provider advised them to use testosterone for contraception. The most common forms of contraception used by transgender men in the study were condoms and IUDs. The researchers report that most participants in this study wanted to become a parent. Dr. Alexis Light of MedStar Washington Hospital Center says that the survey findings confirm earlier studies. Transgender men do become pregnant, and some transgender men engage in behaviors that can lead to unintended pregnancy. And that concludes this edition of the MDedge Daily News. All these stories are available at MDedge.com. You can find links in the podcast description. For MDedge, I'm Mary Ellen Schneider.
And I'm Nick Andrews. You can make the MDedge Daily News a part of your morning routine by subscribing wherever podcasts are found.